What's up, people? It's a nice Sunday, relaxed, nice day. Not having to work at anything today. It's nice. And so, the video that I did this morning, which I woke up inspired to do. Nice response. Thank you, folks. Again, I just will wish out loud, and really, man, I could kick ass at a paid job doing this sort of thing, putting music information together somehow. But anyway, you know, um, it just occurred to me that yeah, I was kind of jazzed by the feedback, and could I do another one right quick, And I just kind of started going through, and it's like started getting bogged down. I said, okay, stop. All right, either something just kind of presents itself or it doesn't, and then an artist did. So I'm going to do one more today. Musical connections, okay? In the background, I'm finally playing some Mouse on Mars that I bought on CD. This is the Instrumentals CD. And I like this the best. Some of their vocal stuff, it's kind of gymnastic-y, kind of silly, and depending on my mood, I don't care for it. I love the music. Yeah, sipping just a little bit. Okay, so the album in question is by a British folk artist from the 60s and early 70s by the name of Colin Scott. It was originally released on United Artists. This is a U.S. reissue on Import Records. Yeah. Yeah, Import, which was part of Passport. Anyway, Colin Scott, even when I bought this when it came out, I bought it because of association, which I'll explain in a second. I didn't know who he was. I tried to stay up on the English rock scene, but, can't know everything. What little I did know. There's the import label. But he had quite the apparently he was well loved and well known, and besides doing the folk circuit, he did opening slots for rock bands because he would mix up his repertoire and do stuff like Buddy Holly and stuff. So consequently, it turns out he got to open for bands like the Strawbs and early King Crimson, I understand, of all things. Interesting, how would that be to be a solo act opening for early King Crimson? But this led to some neat alliances, and as a result, on his, I think he put out 2 albums. This is the only one I've ever seen. This came out in 1971. This is the inner sleeve, which I used to help me put together my connections. I couldn't get them all because I don't have records by all the connections, but it's pretty interesting. The prog rock superstars, literally, that he got to play on his record, who many at the time were still, getting it together. But for starters, the album was produced by John Anthony. And John Anthony is known for producing some early Genesis albums, among others. I can't think of some of the others. But when it comes to, okay, and then the string arrangements are by Richard Hewson. And Sir Richard Hewson, I think that's the right way to say his name, from the UK, worked with everyone, including the Beatles. I think he did strings on Let It Be, among others. He did everyone, okay? He did strings on here. But when it comes to the backing band, he has the entire band of Van der Graaf Generator. Let me get the album. I pulled the one okay. Since it was made and set in 1971, so I tried to pull the album by the band or the musician as close to this time that was out. So the entire band, except for Hugh Banton. No, Hugh Banton's not on here. But Peter Hamill, the drummer, Guy Evans, David Jackson on saxophone, Nick Potter on bass, they're all on this album. They all play on this album. This album was out at the time, Pawn Hearts, which again blows my mind to think 1971 is when they created this Monster of an album. I'm telling you, if you haven't heard this album yet, or if it hasn't happened yet, listen to it again. This is amazing. I didn't get it at first. I had to listen to this several times over a period of time before it just blew my mind. Mind-blowing, like any album that mind blows minds. Okay, the entire band of Van der Graaf Generator play on this album. Not only that, now see, because of contractual purposes, he couldn't list everyone by name in the credits, so you have to kind of read between the lines on some of the people. So on backing vocals, he has Peter Gabriel, and at the time, Nursery Crime was the album out. Peter Gabriel on backing vocals, along with Peter Hamill on backing vocals. Also on backing vocals, he had Annie Haslem, at the time, the new singer in Renaissance. This wasn't out yet. This was the next album to come out. Because not only did he have Annie Haslem on backing vocals, he also had Jane Ralph, the original female singer from Renaissance. Keith Relf of the Yardbirds' sister. Keith Relf, as you know, started Renaissance. That's him in the picture with the beard right there, the lead singer of Yardbirds. So Jane is also singing backup vocals on here, on this album. Quite the lineup, huh? You know, and you never heard of him. I mean, I know many of you folks who are watching this never heard of this guy. You folks that do know about this guy, and if some of you have seen him, folks my age and older, or whatever, because that's about what it would be, I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear some stories. Apparently, he was very good live. And I didn't like this album at first. It took me a while. There's a variety of music styles on here. This is good, especially, you know, see, I had an expectation when I bought it with all these people, you know what I'm saying? It's going to, you know, sound like them, and it doesn't sound like them at all. They're all at his beck and call. And so once that smoke and mirrors disappeared for me, and I could listen to this on its own merit. This is a great album. Amazing backup. Okay, let's keep going. He also has on this album members of Lindisfarne, Alan Hull, and I think the other guy, Ray, whatever his name is, a couple of members from Lindisfarne. Fog on the Tyne, one of their great albums. Another great English band. They're on here. Check it out. Also on this album, I'll make this connection. This is cool. Backing vocals, John Anderson. At the time the Yes album was out, Tony Kaye was still the keyboardist in the band. One of the keyboardists for the session for Colin Scott was Rick Wakeman, who was in Straub's at the time. Now, I don't have From the Witchwood on vinyl. That's the one that was out at the time of this recording. But according to what I've read, this is the session where John Anderson and Rick Wakeman originally met, which led to Rick Wakeman joining Yes. How's that for some interesting information? But this was 1972, Straub's album. Good album. Prog, folk prog. If you haven't heard it yet. Still going, and we just got a couple more. A couple members of Rare Bird, Steve Gold and David Capanetti is one of the other keyboardists on Colin Scott. Amazing, huh? I mean, he has the cream of British progressive rock on this album, not playing prog at all. That's amazing to me. I mean, that's just really quite... Talk about having some credibility. Talk about having some street cred, you know, some musician cred. Because God knows, these folks probably did not get paid for... I bet you many of these folks probably got paid standard for the session. Maybe some folks didn't even because of contractual. They just did it, you know, because they couldn't be credited here. I wouldn't be surprised if many of these folks played for free. Okay, one of the other connections here where I don't have a direct album is Brinsley Schwartz plays guitar on here. Now, besides Brinsley Schwarz, Bob Andrews, who was also in the band Brinsley Schwarz, plays keyboards on this album. Now, Bob Andrews, as it turns out, has played with a lot of folks. Graham Parker and the Rumor. That's not my style, so I don't have those records. But he also, I found some other interesting connections. He's done production work and graphic arts, photography work. And so this album on Stiff, Jonah Louie, he's not in here, but in his list of credits, and this is really common practice back then, is to not be listed in production credits, but he helped produce this album, which is credited to Jonah Louie. Excuse me. But in fact, according to records, Bob Andrews helped produce this album on Stiff. Kind of cool vinyl. Interesting connection there. Really not all that. I mean, this guy is not far from, well, he was in Kippington Lodge, so there's kind of a Graham Parker, Rumor, Brinsley Schwarz type of circle connection here. But another connection I found that I thought was very interesting, more recent, is that Bob Andrews, who plays keyboards on this album for Colin Scott, is credited with design, photo, and what is his credit here? Yeah, design, art direction and design on this album by David Bazan. Isn't that interesting? The keyboardist from this 1970s album, this 1990s or 2000, when was this album out? This was given to me by, I think David is his name. 2009 this came out, by the way. VCLT is how I got this. What a connection, huh? David Bazan and Colin Scott. Who'd have thought? And the last connection that I can show, because there are some that still more here that I can't quite decipher, actually. Who else plays guitar on this album? Nobody else other than Robert Fripp of King Crimson. The album of the time that was out is Islands, which I have on CD, but I have not replaced I had Islands on vinyl for a long time, and not really sure why I don't have it anymore. But Robert Fripp. So this, In the Wake of Poseidon, was the album out right before Islands. So I just thought I would just go ahead, since that came to me, that I could do that right quick, with another quick musical connections video for you folks. I hope you enjoy this one. And if this seems like it could be a good thread, well, I'd love to see some of you other folks share, because again, I watch on a limited basis, mainly because I'm so busy, seriously. But if anyone else would like to do this, a musical connections video, that'd be fun.